Hi. So, before we get started, a couple items of housekeeping for you. One, it is your class's finals are the last things that I have to put in. Grades are finalized at 8 a.m. tomorrow, for those of you who are paying attention at all to remind. I got through everything else. I didn't get through those. Oh well. I still got today and tonight, so. I'm almost the way through done. Out of both classes, I think I got like 19 left. Okay. You all know what you're sitting at going into the final, right? We talked about the magic formula. Tells you what you need on the final. 10 times the grade you want minus 9 times the grade you have. That tells you what you need on the final. So you all know what you're sitting at going into the final because everything was updated to that point. All your daily work was finally put in. Remember I told you that for the daily work I had just put in, I think it was like 80 across the board for everyone. Some of you that went up. Most of you that went down. Because you very obviously weren't doing what you were supposed to. There are some of you that handed in just straight up blank packets. Okay? Anything that is missing, I'm going to have out on the counter here. As you're working through stuff today during our work time, and you should have work time, I will put all the packets out. You can come grab yours. And everything that is orange highlighted, you didn't do. You know how this class works by now. We're halfway through the year. You know that this class is just show up and pick up the friggin' pencil and do what you're supposed to in class. So if half of your packet is highlighted orange, that means you didn't do what you were supposed to for half of the class. I don't know what you were doing. You're dinking around on your phone. Were you staring off into space? What were you doing? Were you disappearing for 15, 30 minutes at a time every day? What were you doing? So you know where your grade is going into the final. Now that all the finals are in, I can tell you the magic part of it. Every one of the questions on your final came off of a review or a quiz that we've done this year. You've seen every one of them before. Every single question. There was nothing new there. You've done every one of those problems before. Okay? And it was open notes, open everything. A review that looked just like it. Which is why, if you fail first semester, you're kind of at a crossroads. And there are a few in here that are going to be at that below the border. If you fail first semester, it depends how bad you failed. If you failed at the, like 55 plus range, like just under the border, I'll probably let you go on to second semester. And now the stakes are higher. We meet with you, your parents, if you have a case manager or a 504 manager, anything like that. We all sit down and we say, look, you ain't doing what you're supposed to in class. You need to step up your game. If you want credit for the class, you need to show me a C second semester. And that's just to receive credit. Otherwise, we will give you a half credit for second semester. You will have to go back and redo first semester. Okay? Because this is a year-long one-credit class. Now, if you failed first semester below the 55% mark, I say 55 because that's normally our cutoff for credit recovery. Any of you done credit recovery for summer? Not summer school to redo an entire class, but you just, they say like redo this packet, redo these projects, do this instead and then we'll call it good. If you've ever done credit recovery, 55 is usually our cutoff. Anything below that, no, you just failed. Anything above that, you're close enough that we can let you do some stuff on the side and call it good. If you failed first semester below a 55, now I got to sit down and talk with maybe a case manager or something like that. And we have a real hard look about whether or not to allow you to continue into second semester because you just don't have the skills to be in second semester. Okay? So if you ended up failing first semester and you're at like a 52, I think one kid's at like a 30, you ain't going on to second semester. Okay? You're just going to have to try again next year. And I have no idea who's teaching it or what this class is going to look like. For all I know, we get Skoglund number 2 because we need another coach. Okay? I don't know. Enough guy, I'm a teacher. Teacher versus teacher. I know some kids loved his class. I've heard enough of you grumble about it that I'm just using that as an example. Okay? I thought he was all right guy. I don't know about his classes. I don't know how that worked out for you, but I heard enough of you start muttering profanity you think I didn't hear that I'm assuming that's not the type of classroom you want to be in again. So please step up your game if you are anywhere below a C. I do not want you to have to repeat this. My job, my mission, the whole reason that I want this class, that I have kept this class for 8 straight years, is I want to get you your letter. I want to get you your piece of paper so you can just at the school and get out of here. Okay? I want that too. So please, when I put the finals in, you need to look real hard at where it is. I would bet that tomorrow I'm going to be having a lot of conversations with especially our special education staff about a handful of kids and whether or not we want to allow them to continue on to second semester. If we allow someone who has failed to continue on to second semester, that is typically our condition. Show me a C second semester or else you're repeating. Okay? Now, I say that, but right now, when I look at the grade book, I think that only applies to like 5 out of 30 kids. Okay? It's not much. But I got to let everyone know. What if you're at the border? How many of you do you know where you're sitting going into the final? Were you at like a 61 going into the final? If that's the case, what happens if you just bomb that final in a half? What happens if you're missing stuff? A handful of you just never turned in packets. You're missing a third or more of your daily work. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. Okay? Also, please, if you were missing any of your daily work, if it just showed up as missing on campus, you got till the end of the day today to turn it in. I hope you just forgot. So, housekeeping out of the way. Well, that part. Second part is we've got our rosters are mixed up. Y'all are just like squished over here. This is the stupidest place in the class to sit because you're all right behind me half the time that I'm. Okay. So there's plenty of room. I'm just letting you know if you're sitting here, half the time I'm going to be standing right in front of you. Layton knows this. Okay. So because the rosters are mixed up, I'm starting fresh. There's a number of you who are coming from our White 2 crew who had a lot of privileges taken away from you because you couldn't pull your head out of your sphincter long enough to do what you were supposed to in class. I will snatch those phones away in a heartbeat. Literally the first time that I have to roll my eyes because you are on your phone and not listening, everyone in the class is losing them. The first time. Okay? Don't ruin it for everyone else. Don't be dipping out of class for 10, 15 minutes at a time. We'll go back to bringing bathroom passes if we have to. I said I will treat you like an adult until you show me I can't. And last semester there were a lot of kids, especially in our white class, that showed me I couldn't. Okay? I want all of you to get C or better in the class. I want you to walk out of here head held high, proud of yourself for getting your first B or maybe even A of your life. We had multiple kids first semester who got an A. Never seen anything below or above a D in math in their life. I got several kids who are sitting at their first B, like a 90 for the class. I want everyone to do that because I know you can. Okay. Right before section 2.7, please tell me there was a blank page. Yeah. Okay. I left the blank page. Good. We need that blank page because we need to write some translation stuff. Any of you ever do the like the code thing in elementary school or middle school where you have to translate? It's all alphabet soup, but then F is really R and a star really is A, and then you translate the thing out and it's a code, and or maybe it's got some stupid joke at the end, something like that. Like you've done direct translation before. There's direct translation for math. And that's what that blank page is for right before we do the word stuff. I want you to write some of it down. For example, what does is mean? Equals. Okay? Is. You know what? Let's do equals, less than equal to, greater than or equal to. Add, subtract, multiply, divide. We're going to make a little chart here. Oh, good enough. We'll make a little chart here with words in it. There we go, good enough. We said is means equals. What are some of the other ones you've heard? I hope you've heard me say it enough times. I heard it. Someone said it. No, not yet. I heard someone say was. Is, was, were, am, are. Being verbs. Are, am, was, will be. Okay, if you ever see any of those in a mathematical sentence, you just replace it with the equal sign. It's direct translation. You see this, you put equals. Okay, now with all of my inequalities, the catch is they're all going to say is blank. So they're going to take one of these being verbs and they're going to smack it onto this stuff. Now, we know the basics. If it says less than, if it says less than or equal to, less than or equal to. I'm only writing that because my boxes are small. Okay, you can write out the whole thing. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. We know those. As soon as I stick is next to it, is less than, now it's an inequality. Is greater than, is less than or equal to, is greater than or equal to. If it's got is smack next to those words, now it's an inequality. And that's important Because if I just see the words less than, that means I'm going to subtract this from a thing. Completely different critter. The is changes everything. Some of the other words that go for those. Less than. What's another way to say less than? Uh-oh, your grade was less than 60. What are other words for that? You have less than $1,000 in your bank account. Other words for less than. Smaller than, fewer than. Fewer is the one we see a lot. Smaller we'll see sometimes. Yep. So if I see like fewer than, more than. If I start shoving the words no or not next to things, that really messes with them. Like, for example, you can have no more than 3 tardies before you have detention. Can you have exactly 3? Yeah? Well, I don't know what the policy is. Is it at 3 or is it after 3? After 3? At 3. Okay. So for that, I would say you must have less than 3. I could also say you have no more than 2. Right? You can have no more than 2 tardies before you get detention. No more than means not more than. Means this is the line, no further. Okay? Which also means if I flop it, this one is no fewer than. Okay, I want you to leave some room in those boxes because we might come back and add more to those. Same goes for all of this. We might just stumble across a problem in another 2 months and I say, ooh, I don't think we have this in our chart. Go put this back in your chart. Okay? All right. Now we know the does. We know add, subtract, multiply, divide. Do you know other words for them? What's another word that means I'm going to add things together? Okay. Sum is our official word. Combined is a very practical word. I like both of those. You'll hear things like combined or total or altogether. But sum is the big dog. That's our official word. Like the actual, when I take 5 plus 6 and I get 11, 11 is called the sum of. Okay, like that's its official terminology. Does anyone remember the official word for subtract? Sum versus, starts with D. Ends with a ifference. Difference. Hey, you're good. That's how I pass English. Okay. Difference. What about multiply? It's our big dog word for multiply. Starts with P. Product. Okay. Divide. Quotient. That was in our review. Okay. Some other ones for subtract would be, ooh, over here, put more than, put less than. And next to then, we're going to put a little arrow because whenever I see then, it means put it after, put it at the end. If you've ever seen Dude, Where's My Car? Really horrible 90s movie. Okay. And then, or maybe you've just seen the drive-through scene. And then, okay, whenever I see more than, less than, it means put it at the end. Okay. And then subtract. Other things for subtract. Is there any other words that mean subtract besides subtract and difference? What if I just put like, how would you read that? Minus. Okay, what if I did this? Okay, plus, so add it in there. Right? We forgot the does. Okay, what about multiply? What's another word for it? Times. Sometimes, I'm just going to kind of put this in, I don't know, like parentheses. Group words and of. And I got it across multiply and divide because it can mean both. It depends whether you're breaking things up or whether you're adding together groups of them. For example, let's say what's in this? How many? 12. So there's 12 of them, right? So what if I had 5 of those on the table? I'd have 5 cases of pop. Well, each one has 12 in it. What do? Do I do 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12? Or do I say 5 times 12? I have 5 cases of pop. A case is a grouping object, right? I put things together in a case. So when I say 5 cases of pop, that's a grouping word with of. So it tells me I'm going to group things together. And you just got to remember, am I getting more or am I getting less? As to whether it's going to multiply or divide. Okay, of 9 times out of 10 is going to mean multiply. But sometimes it'll mean divide. That's why I'm writing it across both of them. If I say I've got 5 boxes of ramen. If I got 5 boxes of ramen, and each one of them has 6 of the little noodle cups, okay? I take 5 times 6, right? I'm getting more of them. Versus, what if I said I got a package of crayons here, and there's 12 in there. Okay, I could divide that among 12 people. So I can either multiply or divide depending on the terms. Are there any for any of this stuff that I have forgotten? That you just remember? I said we're going to come back and add to it later. Yeah? If it literally just says a group of, okay, that's what I mean by a grouping word with of. Okay? So if I have so many groups of, I'm either dividing into groups or I'm multiplying groups together. Yes, sir. So hopefully we got all that written out. And we are ready to word. Define a variable, write the inequality, check the problem. For each one of these, I'm not going to say solve them yet. Right now I want to focus on translating them. Okay? So, decreased. We didn't have that on our list. Where does that go? Okay, under subtraction, put decreased. What's its counterpart? Where should that go? Okay, so let's add increase and decrease to add and subtract. See, I knew I forgot something. So the first thing you do, look for your linking verb. Where do you see is, am, was, were, are? I see is, and it's smacked right up against less than. So that tells me, because it's right next to those words, they go together. Now go look at your little chart there. Is less than, what does it look like? No, is less than. Remember, when I put is next to it, now it's an inequality. If I just say less than, that means I'm going to subtract this from a thing. But if I say is less than, okay, is less than, you're not picking up what I'm putting down here. That's why I wrote it up there. If you have the word is next to those words, it turns it into an inequality. Okay. Is less than 14. Well, if you all don't know what 14 is, I don't know what to tell you. On the other side, a number, do I know what the number is? Just a number. So I put what if I don't know what the number is? I put some variable, and you get to choose what it is. Okay, so a number. Oh, a bunch of you said X. So a number decreased by, what does decreased by mean? Minus 4. X minus 4 is less than 14. Okay? Yes, it does have to go in front. The order in these matters, and that's why we're practicing this. That's why number 28 on your final was bonus, because we had not yet gone through explicitly practicing this. Okay? Where do you see is? Is it smacked next to words like less than or more than? That's an inequality. Is more than. Because is more than. Look back at your list. If I just said more than, it means I'll add it at the end. But if I say is more than, now what? Now it's an equality. Is more than, is that big or small? So, greater than. 12. Okay, 12. See how it cuts off and then says, and then I got stuff? That means at the end, I'm going to have more information. So we're just going to cut that off right now. We'll come back to it. On the left-hand side, it says the difference of. What does difference mean? Okay. So whenever I see the difference of, or the sum of, the product of, whenever they say the blank of, it means this is the operation you're doing. I'm going to tell you the two things I'm talking about. So the difference of means I'm going to subtract two things. Thing one, thing two. Depends what comes immediately after the words difference of. If I say the difference of 5 and a number, then I'm going to say 5 minus x. If I say the difference of a number and 5, then I say x, then 5. In this case, they just said two numbers. So I just pick. They didn't tell me what they were, so I just picked two variables. Okay. What two variables do you want to use? R. Q. Ouch. Okay. R and Q. Okay. And you see how they have that comma splitting it? Now they say, okay, now what's the other information?
And one of the numbers.
Did they tell me which one?
No.
So you get to choose. That means there's actually 2 correct answers for this problem. This is why I didn't want you to solve them yet. There's 2 correct answers for this. Depends, do you want to do 3 here or 3 there? And it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to get rid of Q because I know there's a lot of people in here who are going to feel squeamish about Q. For some of you, it's going to look too much like a 9. Okay. Do again. Where's the word is?
Two numbers.
Okay, 40 is it smacked up against words like greater, less, fewer, whatever? Yeah, it is. Is no greater than. Look back at your chart. Is no greater than. Your number of absences is no greater than 5 for the semester, or else you have to pass the final. Is no greater than. Which of them was it? Can it equal that number? Is no greater than. Your absences is no greater than 5. Can it be exactly 5? Yeah? More than that or less than that if I say is no greater than 5? Smaller, right? Is no greater. I don't want it to be greater. Less than or equal to. I hope you have that written down in that chart. Under less than or equal to, did you write the words is no greater than? Okay? Remember, open notes, open everything. Man, wouldn't it be nice on your first quiz of the semester if you had a translation guide that you could look at? This is day 1. What is today's maroon, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 weeks from today. That'll be day 6, right? We don't have any 4-day weekends coming up, do we? Yeah. So today, oh wait, today's a Tuesday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 weeks from tomorrow, 31st. I keep forgetting today's a Tuesday. They say 40 is. Okay, the number 40 goes there. Whee! The difference of. Do you see the pattern here? The difference of means I'll subtract 2 things. The difference of means I'll subtract 2 things. The 2 things will always be connected by the word and. The difference of thing and thing. So I'll subtract 2 things. Those things are in the order that they told me. So is it x minus 2 or is it 2 minus x? It's always in the order they told us. Okay, and it doesn't even matter which one's bigger or smaller. It matters the order they told us. Okay? I want you to think about when you introduce people, when you talk about your parents, when you talk about your siblings, who do you introduce first and second? Okay? Don't you normally say whoever is kind of more important or in charge or you like more, say that one first? Okay? If you say, what classes do you have this semester? Well, I got PE and science and thing. Did you start with PE because it was your first of the day, or did you start with that because it was just your favorite. Okay, the ordering to it matters. The order they say it in the sentence will be the order you write it. If they switched that around and said the difference of 2 and a number, now it's 2 minus x because it was written in a different order. It is a translation guide. It is literally this goes here, that goes there, that means minus. Okay? Flip that page over. Not the whole packet. Okay.
It's too early for this.
I said flip it over, dude.
It's good to know.
At the top, numbers 14 through 18. I want you to do those ones. Right now. 14 through 18 right now. Do 14 through 18 on page 16 right now. Okay? Pair up with a buddy. Work. Take care of those few. When we're done with those few, we're going to flip it back and then we're going to make it a little more complicated. Just like our regular packets, I do some, you do some. A number is just a variable and you get to choose. You want to be a turd and write a Greek capital psi, you go for it. Yeah. Okay. Is greater than. That is greater than?
Good question. You want to be eating the bigger person.
So since it was left part of sentence is greater than right part of sentence, you want Pac-Man eating the left.
Like this. That's crazy.
Yeah, think of it as left is greater than right.
Yeah, but that's the difference. So, for this, would you put the greater sign there too, or would you just put the x minus 10?
X minus 10. Because it doesn't have the word is smacked on it. Remember, is what turns it into inequality.
Which one's at least?
Well, think of it this way. You must be at least this tall to ride.
Greater than or equal to.
There you go. My bank account is at least $2,000 or I'm not going to make the down payment. Right? Think of it in context and ask yourself that. Yes, sir.
At least. I'm confused.
Okay. Your campaign completion percentage is at least 90%. Can it equal that number?
Yes.
Can it be bigger or smaller?
Bigger or smaller.
If I say your campaign percentage is at least 90%.
Smaller.
At least means you actually want to be bigger, right? Because this number is the smallest. It's at the least number I can be. So I'm going to be, 20 less than a number is at least. So I'm actually going to be is at least, and I'm going to have the line because it can equal that number. Okay? And we're just doing the translation. Don't worry about solving them. You got your 2B back kit still? Okay. What page is this? 15, 16? Okay. So, understand if you're just not into it today, but that's where we're at. Okay?
You know, if you check your chart thing.
That's what I did. They say it on it.
Greater than or equal to. Yeah, it's greater than or equal to.
Why is it?
Like, y'all need to listen to Leighton. He was crushing it last semester in our maroon block.
Yeah, I was I know it's
Yeah.
I have a dose question.
Mhm.
So for less than or equal to, so is this gonna be like? I don't think they're gonna be two different symbols, right?
No, it's a single one. The or equal to just means it has a line.
Okay, so then I'm just gonna wait. I remember. Okay, wait, and then so this is the number, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but in the second question, I'm 90% sure I worded it back away on accident.
Child.
I'm not. I'm
All
So can I
right.
turn this when we're done with it? Can I turn this in?
Yes.
Okay, and I swear next back it won't happen. I think
All
I
right.
threw a different one. I thought it was something else, and I threw it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you can't find it, I know you did the stuff in class. You've been pretty consistent, so
I'm really, I wish
we'll just start fresh here and we'll pretend you did the rest. Okay.
Okay, I was just wondering about.
Oh, for this one, 7 more than. See how this doesn't have the word is next to it?
Oh, so wouldn't that be?
So it's not an inequality because it doesn't say is more than.
So that it just be 7, right?
7 more than a number. Think of it like this. Drace is 7 inches more than Tien.
Okay. So he's 7 inches taller than me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 7 more.
What operation is that?
No, I'm kidding. Adding.
Yeah.
So
And do I take 7 plus Tien, or do I take Tien plus 7?
doesn't it not matter?
Because addition's commutative, it doesn't matter, but I'm stacking another 7 on top of you.
So it would be 10 plus
The
7.
the more than, draw a little arrow above this, like, and it means more than tells me put it at the end.
Okay, so then like
So I'm going to have blank space plus 7.
plus 7 and then it'll be
Number. Okay, now I know what goes in front of it.
okay, and then
Is less than or equal to.
is this one and then negative 8.
There you go.
Yes, I'm so big brain, guys.
I ain't gonna be looking like this.
Yeah, be like,
I ain't gonna be looking like
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Maybe for football next year. Me and Sully are filming right now watching for football, I'll shave my head. I'll go bald.
You had those curls too, like wasn't it
we got
at the beginning of the year? Okay. Y'all heard it here. Marcus is gonna buzz it in the fall. I'll get a random text from a South Dakota number. Hey, dude, check this out. And it's just a picture of Marcus buzzed. Okay. Okay. Flip it over. It looks like most of you are there or finishing up. So walking through these, where do you see the word is? Is smacked next to greater than. So what is the symbol for is greater than? Pac-Man eats which way? To the left. Thing is greater than this. So this is bigger, right? Oh, okay. I said, which way is it eating? But I got you. I got you. No, it's just a communication snafu. If I roll down, if I roll down this list, is less than 9, is less than or equal to. How does that change things? I put the line under it. Is at least. Okay, now they're changing the words on me. If you, okay, must be at least this tall to ride. Can you be exactly that? So I put the line because it can equal. Is at least this tall to ride. Do you want to be bigger or smaller? Bigger, so it's greater than or equal to. Do you have, under the greater than or equal to part of that chart that we just made, do you have the words is at least? You should have it written there because now you got a freebie next time you run into it. Okay, a number is at most. Your number of absences is at most 5 for the semester, or else you have to pass the final to pass the class. Can it equal 5? Yes, is at most. Like this is the line, 5 here. Do I want to be smaller than that or bigger than that? Is at most. Okay. Well, think about number line. All right. At 5 absences, that's the line, right? I want to be smaller than that because as soon as you hit 6 absences, now you got to pass the final, right? So in those policies, I can't do anything about. It's just a thing. There was, I don't think any of you crossed that threshold, did you? I don't think so. That's before the finals I talked about how there is a school board policy, it is in your student handbook, that says after so many absences you are required to pass the final to get credit for the class, where you could have a 80 in the class and they'd say, no, you failed the final, too bad, you missed too much school. I disagree with the policy, I still have to report it. Okay. But even in that case, that goes to a committee, and then they kind of go line by line through the kids and decide if there were extenuating circumstances. I don't know, maybe grandma died and you had to go to Guadalajara for a, I don't know, like a 3-week long grandma celebration. Okay. Not the restaurant, the city. No, we're just going to hole up in the local Mexican restaurant and just party for a week. Okay. All of these were nice because at the end of them, they just had number. Dial it back in, Goof Troop, or else you're all getting spread out to the 4 corners here. A number decreased by 10. What does decreased by mean? Okay, so decreased by means I'm going to subtract. Is it going to be a number and 10? Okay, so x and 10. Is it x minus 10 or is it 10 minus x?
Minus 10x.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. A number decreased, so it's x minus 10.
There we go. Okay. I was like, where are you going to multiply from, dude? Okay. So a number, x, decreased by 10 minus 10. Okay. So if I say a number increased by 1, hopefully that one's a little bit easier after seeing this one. A number increased by 1. What do? I'm going to add 1. Y'all ain't even making it through day 1 without trying my patience. 16. This is super important. If you don't have this written down next to that chart, I want you to write it down. When I hear 7 more than, is more add, subtract, multiply, or divide? But when I hear more than, it tells me put it at the end. I put the plus 7 at the end. More than. Think about, and then it goes at the end. When I hear more than. Notice this doesn't have the word is next to it. So it's not an inequality. Don't put an inequality if it doesn't have is more than. And it's important that we make that distinction because section 2.8, we're actually going to have 2 inequalities in a single problem. They're called compound inequalities. Okay? We have to make this distinction. If you see less than or more than or greater than or fewer than, and it doesn't have the word is smack next to it, it just means plus or minus at the end. Okay? It's direct translation. And then they say a number. Well, a number is just x. Be honest, we're learning this. How many of us said 7 plus x instead of x plus 7? Okay, about half of us. In this case, that wouldn't matter because x plus 7 is 7 plus x. You all just did your final. Question number 1. What property is that? Commutative property of addition. Okay. The reason that we have to put it at the end is because subtraction isn't commutative. If I said 7 less than a number, oh wait, number 17. When I see 20 less than, do you see is smack next to that? This has is, so it's going to be an inequality. This does not have is. 20 less than a number. How much money's in your wallet? I don't know. A number? Cool. You're going to go buy lunch for you and your buddy. It's going to cost 20 bucks. 20 less than a number. Don't you take the money you have and subtract the 20? Because you're about to buy stuff? The less than, the word then says shove this at the end. Okay? Then means shove at the end. And then a number. You know what? Maybe we're feeling spicy and we want to put something different in there. Maybe we use alpha.
So you can't write it.
It can't be 20 minus, no. Because the then is what puts it at the end. Literally, this is English to math translation. Y'all, if that's tripping you up, put more, less, fewer, greater. Maybe you should put that next to your chart. If you see the words more than, less than, fewer than, greater than, there's no is next to it, so it's not an inequality. It's telling you put it after stuff, put it at the end. The word then is what's telling me to put it at the end. And that can be very confusing because look at this less than compared to this less than. How come this means just subtract a thing and this means make an inequality? What was the difference between this less than and that less than? What is the difference between this less than and this less than? How come this one made an inequality, but this one said minus at the end? Is. Is smack next to it means inequality. No is means put at end. Y'all have done complicated things before. Think of any game that you've played. Think of the first time that you walked into that particular room, turned the corner, gone. Right? Fragged right away. Now you know, oh wait, I need to turn this corner a little more carefully. The same thing is happening right here. We are learning, watch out for this particular combination of words, because it means this. Okay, you hear a particular sound in the background. Oh crap, run, something's about to blow up. Right? Y'all, good old Nintendo 64. 007, Tomorrow Never Dies. 25 years later, if I still hear a little bit of a beeping in the background, I am terrified because that means someone just dropped a sticky bomb and the whole level is about to blow up. You learn to watch out for things. I'm telling you to watch out for is next to words and then. meaning at the end. Okay, very last one. Nice and simple, a number plus 2. It just straight up says a number plus 2. Okay, it's pretty hard to mess that up. Okay, flip it back to page 15. Okay, I do some, you do some, back and forth and back and forth. Number 13, start by finding your equal sign or inequality. Is. Is less than. Look back at your chart. Which one is less than? Pac-Man eats right. Okay. I want you to get used to labeling them like this too. When I hear the sum of, what is sum?
Plus.
Okay, so I'm about to add two things together. The two things I add together are going to be the two things it talks about before I hit the equal sign, or in this case, inequality. And they'll tell me the order. The sum of thing and thing tells me blank plus blank. Those things are going to be a number and 8. So it's a number and 8. But do you see how it says the sum of kind of is like throwing the ball up and getting ready? And then when it says number and 8, okay, now you can connect. That sum of, difference of, product of, they're telling you thing, operation, thing. They're setting it up. Oh, what a bunch of jerk faces. They did it again. And one of the numbers is, see that comma in there, cutting it off? So do your little squiggle. We're going to cut that information off. Here's my inequality. Do I see where my inequality is? Is, am, was, were, are. Is at most is smacked next to at most. There is at most 2 people in your vehicle until your license gets updated. Isn't that the rule? It can be you and one other person when you have your restricted license? Yeah. Not that everyone follows those rules, but there is at most 2 people in your vehicle. Can you have exactly 2? Can you have less than that or more than that? Is at most. Smaller number, right? So I'll say less than or equal to. I want you to try. Can you write this the same way we did the previous one? They say the sum of. So I'm going to add together 2 things. The 2 things I will know as soon as I hit my inequality. They just said 2 numbers. I don't know what those numbers are, so I'll start with variables. Maybe I'll say A and B. Now I can come over to my other information. And one of the numbers is -2. Did they tell me which one? So you choose. Which one do you want to replace with -2? If you want to replace A, go for it. If you want to replace B, go for it. They are both correct. This has 2 different answers. Okay, I'm going to replace this B with a -2, meaning if I add a -2, isn't it just subtract 2? So your answers here are going to be weird, where some of you are going to have a minus 2 is less than or equal to 6. Some of you are going to have negative 2 plus b is less than or equal to 6. And those are both correct. Because they didn't tell me which one negative 2 was. Where's my inequality? Where's my inequality? Where is my inequality? Is greater than or equal to. Which symbol is greater than or equal to? Look back at your chart. Okay, eat left with line. Okay, and then at the end they just tell me number. And they tell me the sum of, so they're teeing it up. Right after of, I'm going to have my parenthesis. The two things that I'm going to add are going to be separated by and they're going to end when I run into is. The sum of a number and 6 is written as number and 6 in that order. Okay? Like we just did. Flip it over 16, do that next set. Now they can get much more complicated than this, but this is where I want to focus. Like, what can really suck about these is as you start adding more words, the placement of a comma changes the meaning of it. You do thing. Okay.
Is less than 3 times the number. That'd be x to the power of 3.
Worky, worky. Worky, worky. That's right. There's a handful of you that left your stuff in here.
Is it because I didn't put the check marks?
No. Anything that's missing is highlighted in the packet. You.
What does that even mean? What is the number minus 4? It's less than 3 times the number.
Okay.
That's big. That's word jumble right there.
So, is less than, put your inequality.
Hey yo.
Nope.
Oh, that was the other.
And no line because it doesn't say or equal to.
Nothing highlighted. Oh my god.
Okay. Now they say twice a number minus 11.
But minus 11, that's 4.
It sure looks like 11 from over
Here,
here.
hold on.
There you go. Okay. So I'm not going to introduce comma yet. Okay. What does it mean to twice a number?
Like times 2.
And do I know what the number is?
No.
So how do I say 2 times x?
Can I just be times 2?
Literally just say 2x.
Oh my god, I'm
Right?
so big brain when I want to be. Okay, and then
Minus 4
and then
is less than, check, 3 times the number. Ta-da!
I swear I was so
It,
smart.
it takes time and practice.
I have a question.
Mm.
Does that count?
No.
Okay. Does that count?
Yep. Sometimes I'll just highlight the thing at the top because you didn't do the entire page.
Yeah, I didn't do that one.
Yeah, I know.
Or that one.
Yep.
What? Oh. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. It's just gonna.
That's my other crew. I told you how many times it doesn't matter if you got the right answers.
Yeah, no.
That just means that you were able to copy stuff down.
What did people do in their head?
Prove it.
Okay, give me something.
All right.
This? Here, I got you. Do this in your head. Want me to write this down? Give it to me. 5. 5 plus 2. X plus 2. 2 plus 2 equals 30. So yeah. How much? Wait. Back it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I'm really big. I don't know.
Okay. 8 plus 4 times a number. I'll take it.
Oh no.
It's a comma thing that we're going to talk about. Is greater than 5 times the number. Ta-da!
Oh my god, brain juice is free.
Well, yeah, you said you could do it without writing it down. Doesn't mean you have to see it.
So anyway,
Do this one. Bring it. That's the one I literally just told you. That one. But no, I did do different. Yeah. You do this one.
start with your inequalities. Go find is, am, was, were, are, will be, has been, any of those linking verbs. Is no less than. You were getting, I don't know, you're getting married at age 40. Your partner is no less than 18. At Hollywood. Okay? Yeah, like that's actual grooming. So, if I say is no less than, can it be that number? You're saving up for a car. It costs $2,000. Your bank account is no less than $2,000. I can be exactly that number. Can I be bigger than or smaller than? Right? Greater than. Just think about the words no less than. That means not less than. What's the opposite of less than? Greater than. Since they didn't say equal to, the opposite is or equal to. Okay, they're just telling you if less than means this, then put the opposite of it because I have the word no. No less than. Flip it, put the line. Okay, do opposite. Is less than. Okay, what's that one? Is less than. Go look at your chart. Use your notes. Is less than. Just less than. So does Pac-Man eat left or eat right? I heard both.
He eats right.
Okay. Does eat right. Okay. Is at most. Is at most. I can afford a $2,000 car. The price of my car is at most $2,000. Can it equal 2,000? Line. Can it be less than 2,000 or greater than 2,000? If it's at most 2,000, less than or equal to. Because the second that I hit 2001, well, I just said 2,000 was the most. No, it's got to be smaller than that. Okay? Is greater than, just greater than. Nice and easy. You always start by finding your inequality. If they just straight up tell you a number, 12. Okay, I'll write it. They just straight up tell me a number, 26. Okay, I'll write it. Don't really give me too much more of that. What about, okay. Do I see any of the sum of, the difference of, the product of, the quotient of? Okay. So if I see the sum of, it tells me I'm about to add together two things. Those two things are number and 17. The sum of a number and 17 is greater than or equal to 26. Twice a number minus 4. How do I twice a thing? I heard divide and times. If I say he is twice as tall as you, 2 times, right? Bigger. So twice a number means I'm going to take 2 times that number. And if they just straight up tell me minus 4, well, that's easy. Minus 4. When they tell me 3 times the number, well, then it's just 3 times the number. Did any of you write it as 3 dot x or 3 parenthesis x? That works too. This is just a simplified version of it. A number decreased by 7. I think we're all in agreement that decrease by means subtract, but which way is it? Is it x minus 7 or 7 minus x? Ooh, with addition it didn't matter. Remember, I have an addition property or I have a commutative property of addition. I don't have one of subtraction. The order they tell me is the order that I'll do it in, unless I see that word then. A number decreased by 7 is the number decreased by 7. In the order they told me, just like the sum of a number and 17, I'll do it in the order they told me. The only time I change that order is when I see less than, greater than, more than. It tells me put it at the end. Okay, 8 plus 4 times a number. Well, 8 looks like just regular number. Cool. Plus, that's easy enough. And then they say 4 times a number. How do I write it? 4 times a number. Just 4x. Could I write it like this? Yeah, that's fine. And then it says 5 times a number. Boy, if we can't just do that now. I want you to look at number 12. Technically, that's not right. And it's on a very, very small technicality. If you got room off to the side here. Fine. If you don't have this written down, you're probably going to be hurting when you get to your test. What did I just say?
It's a great question.
We didn't even make it past day 1. Marcus back there, Drace over there. What did I just say?
You said write it down because it's not to be on a test, or it might be on a test. It's not on you.
All right, you two can stay. Drace, you go over there. Okay. If I can't hear myself think, if I can't hear other people asking questions, if you don't know what I just said, then we are doing something wrong. Okay. When I hear twice thing, thrice thing, product of thing, technically, technically, these can change. The way that they change is I can say twice a number minus 4. Well, then I would put n minus 4 in parentheses. The way that most of us wrote it is we said twice a number, and then we tacked on a minus 4. Those two look very, 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 very similar. The difference between them, I kid you not, is a comma. That's the difference between those two. Think of it like taking a breath. Have you ever seen the English joke or maybe a t-shirt or something like that? Let's eat, Grandma. Let's eat, Grandma. One of them says, let's eat. I have a comma, meaning a breath, meaning I take a space, a pause, and then I say Grandma, meaning I'm directed the statement at her. Versus I say, let's eat Grandma. That means we gonna cannibal Grandma.
So you're saying if there was a comma, it would be right when you first time.
That's why I said it's the way that we wrote it. No, because there's a lack of a comma. When there's no comma and I say twice, that means I'm going to take 2 times the thing I'm about to say. And then I never took a breath. I never stopped myself. It's like a run-on sentence. Twice a number minus 4 because I never took a breath. Twice a number minus 4. You see how I kind of tacked the minus 4 on the end because I had a comma to break it up. That's the thing that we practice next time. I'm going to start throwing random stuff up here and putting commas or not commas on here. And they are going to change the meaning of the sentence.